Hey guys, so welcome back to another video. I wanted to talk a little bit, this will be just a short video about making coffee during the apocalypse. I actually, if you know me, I'm making coffee constantly in my classroom and actually found this guy, which I mentioned in another video, this Hario, I don't know, it's the same people who make Hario V60, Hario, right? This is probably the MCPNG14. But I can't read all of this kanji up here. I can only read some of the hiragana, so I'm not quite sure what this says. And my Japanese vocabulary is pretty low, despite that fact anyway. But the cool thing about this is you don't need to boil water for it. You can just pour, either I'm using purified water or just probably tap water over the grounds, and then you let it sit for like a day, roughly, and then you get this kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit stronger coffee. It could be because I'm using a lot of grounds. I have some in there already, and I have some in the blender right now. But I'm using Coffee Clutches coffee here. This is the Costco exclusive Colombia, El Salvador, Brazil, Sumatra. Um, I don't know how it's all of those countries and also a Sumatra or whatever. But I'm sure they could tell you. Coffee Clutch is super knowledgeable and they always have good stuff to say. Please endorse this video. No, I'm just kidding. I actually know their owner loosely. We've hung out and stuff. But as I was opening this, I kind of like butchered the bag. So I'm going to probably store the rest of it in here when I'm done. So I'll put that over here for now. But the first thing you need is a blender. This is a super cheap blender, Mr. Coffee. And it's not what you want to have. I'm going to put this right here for a second. It's not what you want to have. You want to have like some kind of burr grinder. All of my super snobby coffee friends like know that you want like a really good grinder, I guess. It's super important. Hold on, this is going to get loud. What? No. Are you broken? So yeah, I was talking to a, I guess, buddy of mine in Oregon named Nam, and I told Nam, I was like, hey man, you know a lot about coffee, and I want to buy like an espresso machine, right? And Nam was saying that the grinder is almost more important than the machine. He's a roaster up in Salem, and they also make really good coffee. Archive Coffee, if you've never been there, or if you're going to be in Salem for some reason, definitely go check them out. But Nam was saying that, you know, the grinder is super important. So this one is really terrible. It's like a super trash grinder, but an expensive one is probably more than I want to pay for. I did get like a burr grinder for my classroom though. I think it was still a cheap one though. It was like a couple $100 or something like that. So once you do this, I'm gonna move over here. I use this kind of purified water that I have, which we probably don't have enough of, but basically you just run it through the grounds. They're gonna kind of bubble up towards the top. And then you let it settle, right? It will kind of run through all of them. You can see that it begins to drip down. And it's slowly kind of working its way through all the grounds here, right? You can see that growing. Now, the cool thing about this is, you know, like I said, you don't need a water boiler. And that's just one of the things that I recommend for every kid going to college, is to have a water boiler so that you can make coffee. And I mean, I guess also instant ramen if you want to live that life. Although I did read an article that said something like, you know, if you eat ramen, instant ramen more than once or twice a month, you're going to get like colon cancer by the time you're like 30 or something. So I don't know, recommend that completely. But you don't need a water boiler, and it kind of, if you add a lot of coffee grounds, makes this a little bit more concentrated. I also imagine that if you let it sit longer, it's going to be more concentrated. Kind of like the once upon a time I got a thing called a toddy from Coffee Klatch. Not like a hot toddy, but like it's a coffee brewing machine. And it would create this sort of coffee concentrate that you could use as like an espresso substitute, right? If I'm totally butchering all of this stuff, all of this knowledge of coffee, please leave me a comment below. I know that I'm probably not as smart as some of you barista people out there when it comes to some of this. But the toddy would make this like coffee concentrate, and then I would keep it in the fridge, and then I could just add cream to it, and it was absolutely delicious. I think this method also makes it a little less acidic in the long run, and less bitter, because everything that I've made with this so far has been just like heaven, compared to the kind of quick drip coffee that you might get at Starbucks or McCafe or whatever the heck you guys get your coffee at. But obviously I'm not going to watch this whole thing brew. But when you're done, this basically becomes this right here. And then you can just put it over ice and add, your choice of creamer, or just drink it black. I think you could actually just drink this black because it actually doesn't taste horrible. And this thing right here, this Hario, whatever number it is, was actually only like $35. So it's totally a win-win. You, at the end, take this cap that has the strainer on the front of it. You put it on like this. And then you can actually pour just from the device itself if you want. But these carafes, they cost nothing basically to get. I think I got them at Daiso for $1.99 or something like that. So that's how you make coffee in the apocalypse, when maybe the electricity goes out or something like that. Well, although I don't know how you'd work the grinder if the electricity went out. You'd have to like mash the beans yourself or something like that. But yeah, I figure this was a pretty cool little device. When you guys go back to college, you should totally grab one from your local Asian market or whatever, or order it on Amazon. Hopefully, Amazon still exists after this economic fallout that we're having. I need to think of like some kind of intro and like signing off thing that I say, like, welcome to another episode of blah, blah, blah. Thank you all. Like, subscribe, and comment below or something like that. I'll try to figure that out. Maybe you could leave me a comment below on what that should be. All right, guys. Talk to you later.